If you're looking for an easy and delicious fall treat that's fun to make with kids, you've got to try my homemade caramel apples. When apples are in season, this is a must-make recipe. Hey, you're watching Preppy Kitchen, where I, John Connell, teach you how to make delicious homemade dishes to share with your family and friends. These caramel apples will be ready in a snap, so let's get started. First off, let's talk about the apples. You have a lot of choices here, and really any eating apple will work. I like the traditional Granny Smith because it's really tart and that pairs nicely with the caramel. Another thing though is that your apple's probably covered in wax. We need to get that off because the wax is slippery, and when the hot caramel touches it, what's gonna happen? It slides right off. Not good. So take your apple and dip it in some really hot, scalding, or almost boiling water, and then use a clean kitchen towel and rub it vigorously. Let's polish it up like you're giving it to a teacher. Just continue this process. I have a couple Honey Crisps in here because that's Brian's favorite apple, so it'll be a nice treat for him. I love fall in New England, the beautiful colors, the brisk chill in the air, and of course, all the apples. We have a ton of apples here on the farm, and even though I'm using the Granny Smith, our varieties are so delicious too. Perfect. After the stems are removed, it's time to attach an apple stick. Add it through the center, and then try and get it, straight through, not too crooked. These are something else you can get. They're pieces of plastic that look like sticks. That's what they look like. All right, the apples are gonna hang out in the fridge while we make the caramel. It's not a must do, but I find that a cool apple kind of helps the caramel cling on and set up more quickly. Now it's time to make the caramel. And if you've made caramel before, it's very similar, but different. So here's the deal. We're gonna start off by adding almost all the ingredients into our pot. 2 cups or 400 grams of brown sugar, and I'm using a combination of light and dark. 1, because it doesn't really matter, and 2, it's like the 2 open bags I had. So adding in half a teaspoon of salt, 5 tablespoons or about 70 grams of unsalted butter. If you wanted to use salted butter, just reduce the salt by 1/4 of a teaspoon that you were adding in. 1.5 cups or about 350 ml of heavy cream. And finally, the secret ingredient for your caramel is corn syrup. This will help it become much more sticky and cling on to your apples. I don't use corn syrup all the time, but when I do, it's because it's necessary. It really is needed for some recipes. Before I put this on heat, here's what you should have on hand because you do not want to go searching around once this is started. Okay, a wooden spoon. This is to stir things in the beginning, and the wooden spoon is not going to change the temperature of the caramel very much. And because it doesn't conduct heat, it's not going to burn your hand. Double bonus. A little bit of water to dip your pastry brush into. The pastry brush will brush the sides down. It's really important not to scorch the side. And the last thing is a candy thermometer. All right, let's set this over medium-low heat right now, and we're gonna stir until things are melted and homogeneous. So once it's all melty and fine, then we can stop stirring. All right, so I'm just gonna stir this over that medium-low heat, and I'm really waiting for the butter to melt. So you can speed this up through editing. Everything is basically melted. I'm gonna stop stirring and switch to my pastry brush. Just wash the sides down. You don't want all that stuff burning. If you watch my channel, you've heard this before, but having a nice thick-walled pot is so important. A lot of times if you're using a really thin-walled pot, it scorches everything. Either invest in a nice pot, or you can find them secondhand super cheap and see that the walls are thick. It makes a huge difference. That's all washed down. Now we can switch to our thermometer and just check things out. I want this to be in the softball stage. That's 235 to 240 Fahrenheit. I'll put the Celsius in the card below because I don't remember it offhand. This is why you don't want to use a small pot for this. In fact, the caramel will be bubbly, so if it was a tiny pot, huge mess. No. We're gonna take this off heat. It just reached 235. After your caramel has been off heat for a minute or two, go ahead and mix in 1 tablespoon or 15 ml of a nice vanilla. It'll add some good flavor to your caramel. Okay, mix that in, and you can see the consistency of the caramel is it's pretty thickened. We're gonna set the caramel aside for 5 to 10 minutes. It kind of depends on the ambient temperature of your kitchen, but the dipping temperature is gonna be around 190-ish. So yeah, this is like still exactly 235 degrees. It's gonna take a minute. So make sure that caramel's totally off heat. I was like, Why is this still like 0.3 degrees cooler? It should be cooler by now. It's because it was on ultra low. I turned the knob the wrong way. While the caramel chills, set up a little station for dipping them because you want to work kind of quickly, and chances are you want to decorate these apples as well. You could totally do them just plain caramel though. They will be delicious and pretty. I'm going to do some mini M&Ms, some sprinkles, and some chopped peanuts. So chop the peanuts on your tiny cutting board. Dump that into a bowl. The last thing you need is a place to put the apples. They're gonna be super sticky and you would be heartbroken if your apple was stuck to a piece of paper or the counter. So you want them to cool on the least sticky thing possible. It's gonna be a silicone sheet. If you have any silicone baking sheets, get one out. And if you don't, use a piece of parchment paper. It'll also work. My caramel just hit 190, so let's pour it into a little bowl. This stuff is delicious, by the way, and yes, you can make caramels out of this, like little packaged caramels you would eat. Same recipe. Dip your apple in, give it a little bit of a turn, and you can even scrape the bottom off if you want it to have less caramel on the bottom. Now it's ready to either place onto our silicone baking sheet, or you can decorate it. So this one, for example, could get some little mini M&Ms cutting it. Is that too many or just enough? I don't know. Okay, so here's the reel. If you see a bunch of air bubbles hanging out in your caramel, that's not gonna be giving you a pretty apple, so use a hairdryer or a heat gun if you have one and just pop them. Anyways, back to dipping apples. Here we go. And then continue decorating. This one's gonna get some sprinkles on it. And this one's gonna get a little bit of everything on it. So some peanuts, some M&Ms, and then some sprinkles. It's the monster apple. This monster's ready to cool down and I might be chomping into it later, but I wanted to talk to you about what to do with the excess caramel. This is not waste. We're gonna make some little caramel candies for it. So clear this away and let's move along. Just plop them either onto a piece of silicone like I am, or onto a very maybe lightly oiled piece of parchment paper. Form it into either like a log, a brick, whatever shape you want. And as you can see, it really will not stick to the silicone. This is perfect. Form your caramel into a brick or log and then set it aside to cool completely. Once it's cooled, you can cut it into smaller pieces and either enjoy it right away or wrap it in parchment paper for later. Now let's cut that caramel apple up. I want a bite. If you like this recipe, check out my fall playlist. All my favorite fall recipes in one playlist for you. But now it's time for a bite. That was so delicious. I love the apple, the caramel, and the toppings all working together in every bite. If you like my recipes, hit that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next fall video.